Hi guys, let's start with our course Stereochemistry. In this lesson, we are going to cover Introduction to Stereochemistry, Geometrical Isomerism, Overview of Optical Isomerism, and some important terms related to stereochemistry. So friends, isomers. Isomers are those species which have same molecular formula but they are not identical. So generally speaking friends, isomers are of two types. Number one, constitutional isomers, and number two, stereoisomers. Friends, constitutional isomers are those isomers which have same molecular formula but the connectivity of their atoms is different. For example, we have ethanol and dimethyl ether. Now both ethanol and dimethyl ether contains 2 carbons, 6 hydrogens and 1 oxygen atoms. But they have difference in the connectivity of these atoms. For example, in ethanol we have the functional group OH, whereas in dimethyl ether the functional group is O. So these are known as constitutional isomers. And the other types of isomers are stereoisomers. So friends, stereoisomers have same molecular formula and same connectivity, but they differ in the way their atoms are arranged in 3D space. For example, we have this alkene. Now, in this form, both the hydrogens are attached to carbons on the same side of the double bond. So, this isomer is known as the cis isomer, whereas in the other isomer, both the hydrogens are connected to carbons at different side of the double bonds. So, this form of alkene is known as transform, and cis and transform are known as stereoisomers. Now friends, moreover, stereoisomers are of two types. Number one, geometrical isomerism. Number two, optical isomerism. Friends, geometrical isomerism is further of two types, cis and trans and E and Z. Geometrical isomerism mainly occurs due to restricted rotation around double bond or in cyclic system, whereas optical isomerism is the property due to which a compound is able to rotate the direction or motion of a plane polarized light. Now the optical isomerism is of further two types. Number one is with chiral center and number two is without chiral centers, that is due to axis or chiral plane. Now friends, geometrical isomerism, as we have talked about it earlier, that it results from restricted rotation around double bond or by cyclic system. So friends, geometric isomerism is of two types. Number one is cis and trans isomerism. For example, 2-pentene. Now, when both the hydrogens are on the same side of the double bond, then the isomeric form is known as cis form. And if these hydrogens are on the opposite side, then the form is known as trans form. Similarly, in cyclic system, if the same species are on the same side of the ring, then the form is known as cis form. And if the same groups are on the opposite side of the ring, then the form is known as transform. Now friends, for EZ nomenclature, they are very similar to cis and trans. E means across, that is similar to trans, and Z means together, which is similar to cis. Now friends, if while denoting E and Z, we give priorities to the groups. So the priority order goes by higher the atomic number, higher will be the priority of that group. For example, in this alkene, now when we look at the group which are on the downside of alkene, iodine and chlorine. Iodine has a greater atomic number. So we will give priority number first to iodine and priority number 2 to chlorine. Now similarly on the top portion, fluorine and bromine, bromine has a higher atomic number, so bromine will get the priority number 1 and fluorine will get the priority number 2. Now we can see that the groups which got priority number 1 are on the same side of the double bond. So this type of alkene will be known as Z alkene, and when the same priority number groups are on opposite side of the double bond, then that kind of alkene is known as E alkene. Now friends, optical isomerism. Friends, optical isomerism is of two types. Number one is with chiral center and another one is without chiral center. Now, with chiral center, the optical isomerism arises due to carbon chirality center or phosphorus and nitrogen chirality center. These things we will be discussing in details in our further lessons. Now, again, without chiral center, we have due to chiral axis, due to chiral plane, etc. For example, allenes and biphenyls. In allenes and biphenyls, the chirality is due to the presence of a chiral axis. So friends, here are some important terms relating to stereochemistry. First term is chiral. Friends, a molecule or a species is said to be chiral when it has a known superimposable mirror image, or we can say that the mirror image is not same as itself. For example, pair of hands. Second, we have asymmetric carbon. Friends, a symmetric carbon is that carbon which is bonded to four different groups. For example, here the carbon is bonded to fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. These all four are different groups. So this carbon is known as asymmetric carbon. And this asymmetric carbon is also called a chiral carbon, a chirality center, a stereo center, etc. etc. Next, if in a molecule we have an asymmetric center or a chirality center or a stereo center, then that compound would exist in form of its stereoisomers. Friends, stereoisomers are of two types. Number one, enantiomers, and number two, diastereomers. Friends, enantiomers are those isomers which are non-superimposable mirror images of each other. For example, here these two are mirror images of each other which are non-superimposable. So we can say that these two molecules constitute an enantiomeric pair. Next friends, we have diastereomers. Diastereomers are those diastereomers are those stereoisomers which are not mirror images. They are stereoisomers but not mirror images. For example, here we have four compounds A, B, C and D, and we have to identify which one are enantiomeric pairs and which are diastereomeric pairs. Here we can see that A and B are mirror images of each other, so they are enantiomeric pair. Similarly, C and D are mirror images of each other, so they are also enantiomeric pair. Now we can see that A and D are though isomers, but they are not mirror images. So we can see that A and D are constituting a pair of diastereomers. Similarly, for B and C, they are also diastereomers. B and D are also diastereomers, and A and C are also diastereomers. So friends, one thing to be noted here is that diastereomers exist only when there are more than one stereocenter present in a molecule, and if there is only one stereocenter in the molecule, there will not be any diastereomers, only enantiomer will be there. And if there is more than one stereocenter present in the molecule, then there will be enantiomers as well as diastereomers. Next friends, we have meso compounds. These meso compounds are optically active, they are optically inactive in spite of having a chiral center, and they are optically inactive because such molecules contain plane of symmetry. For example, this compound contains two asymmetric carbon, so it seems to be optically active compound, but since this compound is containing a plane of symmetry, so we can say that this compound is a meso compound, or we can say that it is an optically inactive compound. So that's it